Los Angeles, March 2007. And the Heroes team are downtown on another daunting day of filming.
Well, one of the logistical challenges of this show is that it mostly takes place in New York City. Of course, we shoot in Los Angeles, and only very select parts of Los Angeles look like New York City. So we shut down the whole block with the police's help, and we bring in hundreds of cars and dozens of New York cabs and 150 extras to make all that happen, plus, you know, FBI vans swooping in and arresting people and slamming them to the ground. It's a lot to do in a day.
With the production entering the final stage of filming, it marks the end of an epic journey for the cast and crew. And the cameras of Heroes Unmasked have been there every step of the way to see how Heroes has become such a global phenomenon.
It's a hugely expensive show. It's a very, very expensive show. The episodes cost a lot of money, and you'll see why. It is on the screen.
If you've never seen Heroes before, you're in for the most incredible ride, I think, that an audience has ever been taken on in TV.
Wire hanging to sword fighting, stomach-turning feats to hard-hitting treats.
Oh my God, are you okay?
The next 20 weeks will show you that it takes heroes on both sides of the camera.
Oh, go, 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 action!
To bring this extraordinary series to life.
Well, the title Heroes, it could have been dangerous because automatically people are going to think, oh, heroes, you know, they're running around in tights and a cape, and that's just not what this show is about.
It's extraordinary abilities, but set in the real world of people that have to pick up their kids, work, deal with any kind of personal issues. So I think it's that combination of the unreal with the real.
Heroes has, you know, mystery, adventures, you know, laughter, you know, sadness.
There's fantasy stuff going on. There's really personal, emotional moments.
Epic storytelling, sci-fi in its scope and nature, but with much more sort of realistic human consequences.
It's about the characters, not necessarily about their powers. It's about the story and how the powers are part of it, but it's always about the characters.
おい、見たか？できたぞ。俺は女子トイレの中に行ったんだ。
すごい。お前は変態だ。
俺はテレポートしたんだ。
It's people with problems. It's people that are, you know, that make mistakes. It's everyday people that aren't perfect. They have their own problems to deal with.
Welcome home.
And suddenly they have this thing on top.
Not all of these people are using their abilities for good. I guess a more apt name would be heroes and villains, if you wanted to call it that, because there are people who don't use their abilities for good, which makes the show infinitely more interesting to watch.
Really, the script reads to me just very dark and provocative and kind of brave, and, you know, I hope that we're able to convey that in the show. I hope we do Tim justice.
I wanted to tell a saga, and I had a certain amount of that worked out in my mind. And I wanted to deal with certain archetypes, big building block kind of characters that you could very easily identify with. I wanted it to have a very simple and iconic kind of title. It was obviously a play on the idea of superheroes. So by clipping off the idea of super, I felt there was power in that title.
Television's most anticipated new show is on 7 in 07.
Broadcast across the world to an audience of millions, Heroes is international, both in flavor and appeal.
Descúbrelo muy pronto por Canal 5, televisión como tú quieres.
Heroes. Á mánudagskvöldið klukkan 9.
It's a universal theme. It's that it's people from all over the world, from different cultures, different ages, and I think that's what's made people identify with their own stories.
It's not just people in America, it's international, which is great for the global aspect to this show.
And with the best creative team that Hollywood has to offer, the expertise is in place to make Heroes unlike anything seen before on TV.
I would say that this is the most complicated show I've ever worked on. It's huge.
Working on Heroes is a juggernaut experience. I mean, it's a juggernaut show. It's Heroes, so it's got to be big, it's got to be great. In television, you're not often getting to do this kind of work at this kind of level.
One day, we had, I think, something like 120 carpenters at one time building a set, and 40 painters. Big feature films do that.
This show is breaking new ground in a lot of ways. I think it's more or less showing that you can put an hour movie on television every week if you do it right and you keep the stories right.
It's an amazing ride for all of us as actors. I mean, you just, I think for everybody on the show, you know, for the cameramen and women, for the set design and for set construction and locations, we never know where it's going to go. So the surprises are just as shocking for us as they are for the viewer when they watch the final episode.
All of us are excited about being on this show. We're like dying to know what's going to happen.
With our show, you never know where we're going next and what's going to happen, and it really keeps us on our toes.
The show just keeps topping itself, one episode after the other.
Every episode ends with this great cliffhanger that makes you think, oh my god, did they just really end that way?
Turning to face what you've become, buried the ashes of someone, broken by this train, trying to fill that space inside. Am I just like you? All the things you do can't help myself.
All these seemingly unrelated people, you know, and you kind of see people's like paths cross, their own destinies, you know, crossing, and people, you know, growing.
We're not fully developed into these powers yet, so I mean, maybe they're going to go away, maybe they're going to stay, who's going to come together? I mean, it's all really up in the air.
So many questions asked and so many questions answered.
It's impossible to keep this show up, and they do it, and they take it to a new level, and it just keeps getting better.
And you can explore Mahinder's virtual office and play the Heroes games. For lots more information and pointers, find your destiny on bbc.co.uk/heroes.